Hey, ladies. It's your girl Cherie in the building for a surprise pop up live. I won't be here long tonight, but I wanted to share this Motivation Sunday with you, give you a word of encouragement as you are entering your work week. Before I do that, if you're listening to the replay, please click the thumbs up button for me. Also, put replay in the comments so that YouTube can know that you are participating and you like the content that you get on this channel. So let's talk about the fact that you want to be so good that they can't ignore you. Be so good that they can't ignore you. They can't take their eyes off of you. What am I talking about here? I am talking about the fact that in order for you to have a breakthrough in your life, in your career, in your romantic relationships, in the relationships you have with the other mothers around you, with your children, etc. You want to be so good that they can't ignore you. You want to be so good that they come to you and they say, you know what? You are the best of the best. So, this past week, I've had several breakthroughs. Actually, over the past couple of weeks, I've had several breakthroughs with regards to my life. And one of the things that I discovered is that I was being recruited by some companies with regards to working with them on the mortgage loan officers, being a mortgage loan officer or originator, as it's called. Many of you know that. You know that I passed my test recently and I've been working on this level up for 3 years. It's so hard. It is so hard to level up, ladies, as many of you know. But this one specific gentleman was trying to recruit me into his organization. And he's telling me about the organization and how great it is. And I said, well, um, and he said something about them being the largest organization out there. And I said, well, that's interesting because you only have 2,000 people, yet there are 183,000 originators across the country. And he said, well, that's interesting. I didn't even know that. Why am I telling you this story? Because in order to be so good that they can't ignore you, part of it is knowing what good is. Because being good at what you do is relative to your industry, to the requirements that people have, etc. So, what do I mean by that? Let's take some of the best entertainers in the world. Beyonce, for some people, I personally, don't care about her either way, but Beyonce is considered so good by many that she cannot be ignored. And she also works very hard as well. Celine Dion is somebody else. Janet Jackson is somebody else. Tina Turner was somebody else. May she rest in peace. There are women entertainers that are out there that became so good. They first of all looked at the landscape around them. They looked at the other singers. They crafted a lane for themselves. They dominated that lane. They practiced. They worked hard. And when they came out and it was time to perform, they shined like a light. But it's not only entertainers that are so good that we can't ignore them. Sometimes it's engineers. So, for example, Steve Jobs is a great example of an engineer that was so good through Apple that we couldn't ignore him. Or Sam Altman, who created ChatGPT, one of the people who created ChatGPT. Or Katherine Johnson, one of the ladies who was at NASA and what's the name of that movie with Taraji P. Henson? You all can put it in the comments for me. She was so good. Hidden Figures, that's what it is, Hidden Figures. She was so good that people couldn't ignore her. I want to encourage you to be so good in your life that people can't ignore you. Be so good in your career, people can't ignore you. Be so good if you're singing in the choir at church or whatever it is, that people can't ignore you. But figure out how you're going to be a light so that people can be attracted to you. So, there are four things I need you to do or think you should do as you are thinking about this, about being so good that they can't ignore you. Number one, you got to decide that you're going to be great. I, Cherie, have made a decision that I am going to be a great mortgage loan originator for both people who want to buy houses, just regular families, and especially for my real estate investors. I want to be so great that I can help a motivated real estate investor with money, because you will have to have a little bit of money, to basically buy a rental property every year for 5 years or 10 years so that you can be set up for financial retirement. I want to be so great that I intend to dominate that lane. For you, for the career that you want to have, what kind of decision have you made for that career? How are you going to show up in that career? First of all, you got to decide that you're going to do it, and you got to figure out what that is going to look like for you. It doesn't mean that you need to be a CEO. It doesn't mean that you need to be a boss babe. It does mean that you need to be great. In whatever you choose to do, you need to be at the top 10% of the game. So after I decided that I was going to look at the landscape and carve out my niche, the second thing I did was I looked and I researched to figure out who the top, for me, it ended up being 1% of mortgage loan originators are. For you, it can be who are the top of whatever situation and, um, job you have. But you want to know who the top is. Number three, you want to know, what they do. I've told you ladies before, sometimes it's not necessarily the degree that the person earned that got them into that position. Sometimes it is the network that they have or the soft skills that they have or or the way they set up their day. Or it could be the halo effect. It could be their physical look that gets them through the door and gets them the eyeballs that they need in order to progress forward. But unless you know what that is, so that you can take the best elements of the people who are in the top 10%, unless you know what that is, you're not going to be able to be successful. And then the fourth and final thing is you need to figure out how you're going to become one of them, how you're going to get to the top 10%. What is your game plan for success? So, with that, I always leave you with my famous four things I always suggest that you do. Number one is, or skills that you have. Number one, your technical skills. Number two, your soft skills. Number three, your networks, multicultural networks of people that know us, like us, trust us, and who have access to us and who we have access to. And number four are your resources and your financial literacy. If you have those four things, ladies, there's nothing that can stop you. So that's the Motivation Sunday for the week. I pray that you have a very wonderful week. And I will actually see you ladies tomorrow. I'm super excited. We're going to talk about the debate between Tim Scott and Sunny Hostin on The View. They talked about racism in America. And I did not agree with either of them 100%. I think they both had comments that were correct, and they both had comments that were seriously incorrect. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow night. In the meantime, you can join our email list, bwmakingmoney.com, bwmakingmoney.com for exclusive content. You're kind of going to get on our email list for this week because I have the best article for you. I already set it up. It is scheduled to go out on Wealth Wednesday. So you want to be on our email list where we send out exclusive wealth building content at bwmakingmoney.com. All right, ladies, take care.